Today I'm going to the Henry Ford Museum. This is a museum that showcases American history, culture, and innovation. The goal is to preserve and tell the story of America. The Henry Ford Museum is kind of a companion to Greenfield Village next door. Henry Ford made Greenfield Village as kind of an outdoor preservation of American history, and the Henry Ford Museum is kind of an indoor preservation of American history. In my previous videos I showed you Greenfield Village, and today I'm going to show you the Henry Ford Museum right next door. You will see American innovation and technology over the years, from farm equipment to cars to trains. You will also see culturally significant pieces and historical pieces that helped shape and change the country, in some cases dramatically. A few of the highlights include the chair Abraham Lincoln was sitting in when he was assassinated at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. on April 14, 1865. The bus Rosa Parks refused to sit in the back of, and a collection of presidential cars including Franklin Delano Roosevelt's 1939 Sunshine Special Lincoln. The car Ronald Reagan was taken away in when he was shot, and the car John F. Kennedy was riding in when he was assassinated while driving in Dallas, Texas. Over here is the giant screen where they show movies on an oversized screen, but we won't be doing that today. And while I'm here, who needs a little plastic souvenir of Henry Ford made?
These are pretty cool too, $5. And the mold comes together, fills with plastic. And you get either a Henry Ford statue here, or this one is a Ford F-150 pickup truck.
Now let's go into the Henry Ford Museum.
Well, this is all kind of about science and math, this little area here. But it's interesting, I come right upon my own city. There's Galloping Gertie, as they called it, the Coleman Narrows Bridge, the first one that went down in 1940. After that, they studied about wind and things like that and its effects on bridges at the University of Washington, and they rebuilt the current one, completed in 1950, and it has no trouble staying up in the wind now.
Now let's go on to some advancements in machinery over the years.
So we're starting off with machinery here. Westinghouse portable steam engine, 1881. The Ford experimental lightweight tractor, 1907. That is a weird looking tractor. Definitely not as heavy as the ones now. A little wagon over here. What's going on with this guy? Look at that big thing back there. Spike Tooth Harrow, 1890. That's this little sucker. International Harvester Manure Spreader. Well, isn't that delightful? Of course, I'm going to want to check out the manure spreader. That's great. Alright, well, you know what? Onward and upward. Yeah. Did not realize that was a machine made for poo. So yeah, we got a lot of different kind of tractors. We have this big thing, which I'm pretty sure is a transformer waiting to take over the world or something. I don't know if it's an Autobot or a Decepticon. I can see his eyes. Oh, dang, that thing's big. Yeah, so this thing is a 1969 tomato harvester. Scientists and engineers took 30 years to create a type of tomato that could withstand mechanical harvesting. Son of a gun. Well, there you go. Big suckers for tomatoes. Here's another big sucker that I'm also pretty confident is a transformer as well. Bastard sucker up top there. What does this thing do? Self-propelled cotton picker. Well, that is a self-propelled cotton picker. All right. New Holland forage harvester. 1952. Oh my goodness! It's the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Well, why didn't you say so? Let's go have a little look-see, shall we? Mowing, reaping, and threshing. That sounds like something the Vikings did. Well, this very well might be the single greatest engineering feat of all time. The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. I've seen some classic cars, but this one might be the fanciest of all. Surprised Elon Musk isn't driving this thing around. 1952 Wienermobile. In 1936, the Oscar Mayer Company began to promote their hot dogs on the streets of Chicago with the very first Wienermobile. The only 1952 model in its original design, the Wienermobile in our collection served as a prototype for Oscar Mayer's more recent 1988 fleet. The Wienermobile reflects an innovative combination of transportation and product promotion that brings together two of America's greatest loves, cars and hot dogs. Can you sing the song? Well, son of a gun. I wouldn't like to be cruising down the street in that bad boy. Let me tell you. Chicks dig it, I'm pretty sure about that. Some kind of dinosaur thing over here, that's why there's a lot of kids. They're excited about it. It's not like real dinosaur bones though, or anything like that. So, I don't know if I'm going to check it out or not. There's a kind of example, I guess. Apparently it's like a movable dinosaur model thing.
Part of the harvesting process. At least 8 laborers rode along on the machine and removed debris from the picked fruit.
They're kidding that friggin' whatever that
In
thing is.
1969, the first successful mechanical harvester linked tomatoes.
Alright, we got furniture over here. Kind of looks like a showcase showdown. What the frig is this thing? That's either something from Hannibal Lecter or a dentist's office. Let's find out which one. Lounging chair and ottoman. I don't know. Looks like something to torture people with to me. Oh look, it's Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain. We've got furniture. Some 1700 stuff here, huh? Alright. This is a U.S. House of Representatives desk from 1857. House of Representatives chair. Well, that's kind of cool.
Here's a 1904 portrait painting of Mark Twain, and the table below it did belong to Mark Twain. And this portable writing desk here belonged to Edgar Allan Poe up front.
Vote yourself. The women of America tell you that America is not a democracy. 20 million women are denied the right to vote. Alice Paul.
From Captain America to the character.
Exhibit on Jim Crow. Making a classic T-Rex. Progressive movement. It says, to the future, the progressive generation. You would be a member of this generation if you were born between 1890 and 1919. Remember when horses and automobiles shared the road, had to wind your record machine, went to silent movies for fun. Come on, come all. Everyone welcome. Experience this place and time. Let's do it. Hey, you kids, slow down.
I don't think these people sitting in a stationary car got that I was joking, but yeah, I found it humorous, so that's nice.
Oh yeah. This is the new Marvel movie coming out. Is this thing playing itself? No, it's just a decoration, I guess. This concludes the performance. Well, all right. Eastman Kodak Brown camera introduced in 1900. Brown, affordable, small, easy to use. Look at that telephone over there. In 1910, there were only about 8 telephones per 100 Americans. And early telephone was expensive, awkward to use, and required an operator to place the call. Well, that's got to be World War I, this hat here, this helmet. Looks like Doughboys to me. Yep, the Great War. The war to end all wars. I wish. Alright, so he keeps going forward to the future in this direction. So this one is the Eisenhower generation. You might be a member of this generation if you were born between 1936 and 1945. Practiced duck and cover drills in schools during the early days of the Cold War. Remember sock hops, hot rods, soda shops, and the early days of rock and roll. Great balls of fire. Strolling down to find your place in time. Interesting. Generation. Shirley Temple. Hollywood. Well, it's good to know there's always been weird people. Now they're hugging and kissing trees. Back then they were hugging and kissing poles, I guess. I don't know. Power of radio. That must be, they're going to be having Eisenhower, Roosevelt giving a fireside chat. Definitely not Roosevelt. Oh, it's War of the Worlds. It's the radio play where they pretended that the Martians were attacking us, and it scared the crap out of everybody. A bunch of people thought it was real, and yeah, they didn't bother telling them it's a skit, so it freaked everybody out. Look at that. A Wurlitzer jukebox. So we're talking about the 50s here. The Letterman sweater, the days before Letterman jackets. Al Kaline King. Met Al Kaline before he died. Grease area.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president should cook. Why not?
This is, let's see, duck and cover drills here.
That's ridiculous. Ain't no white people. All of them they do the white. They do the white. Well, they ain't got no black in us.
You know, the only black flag we've got is for killing roaches.
Baby boomer generation now. So we got to be into the 60s now. Saturday Night Fever. We should be getting into the 70s now. Baby boomers. You might be a baby boomer if you were born between 1946 and 1964. Remember how different your music sounded on the radio with a stereo and as an 8-track. Grew up with TV, unlike your parents. Knew someone your age who had dropped out of the mainstream society and joined a commune. So, tune in, man. This could be your place in time. Look at that, a Snoopy phone. Generation X, you might be an Xer if you like to exercise. No, okay, you might be an Xer if you were born between 1965 and 1979, watched Sesame Street, pre-Elmo, an electric company, and sang Conjunction Junction. Wanted cable so you could watch your MTV. Had a Walkman, boombox, telephone, and maybe even a computer in your bedroom. Totally awesome. This might be your place in time. It might be your place in time. Let's see. I want my MTV. Hey, look, it's the Whopper. Girls just want to have fun. Technology is everywhere. Teenager's Bedroom 1987. Let's see what we got going on next here. Oh, it's my generation. Look at that. The next generation, if you were born in 1980 or later, your place in time is right now. My place in time is now, I guess. How about that? Oh, look at that. Randy Johnson. Billy Madison. Give me a minute. Intersection of innovation. There's a replica of the 1903 Wright Flyer.
Here's a reproduction of the Wright brothers' 1903 Wright Flyer.
And their
the world's first airplane. Now, if you watched my previous video in Greenfield Village, you saw I took you into the actual Wright brothers' home and their cycle shop, where they built the world's first airplane.
First time a machine carrying a man has rised itself by its own power into the air on full flight. Finally landed a plane so high. How's that from where it started? Orville and Wilbur. I doubt that he's this tall. The statue's like as tall as me. I doubt that he was as tall as me. Innovators, inventors use their passion, perseverance, and knowledge to turn the dream of flight into a reality. Airplane shop. Oh, they're making little model airplanes here now. Scooch right by here.
Sorry.
No problem. Well, you didn't hit the target, but you hit the kid, which is even better. Congratulations. Look at these characters upside down. Like you're standing in an airplane here. Let's see. Oh yeah, it tips and turns. You do kind of feel like you're buzzing along here. I don't think it's moving at all, is it? It just makes me feel like it is. Pretty good. Weird. Yeah, I don't know if that caught on this camera or not, but I definitely felt like the whole thing was tilting, but then I realized it's not. That's crazy.
Here's a race car area with a race car simulator as well.
tire, looks like, huh? Louis Chevrolet.
Race cars have come a long way from this Louis Chevrolet, co-founder of Chevrolet race car, to the modern race cars of today. Here's the goldenrod that on November 12, 1965 traveled 409.277 miles per hour across the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah to set the world land speed record for wheel-driven cars, which lasted until 1991. Now this area's got a lot of cool old trains.
Wow. $19.25 caboose. Look at that 1923 Canadian Pacific snowplow. Look at that thing. 1928 could go 116 miles an hour. I could build the world's best car. 1931 Bugatti.
Sale, a Bugatti.
1937 Corvette 12. Continental. 1936 Lincoln Zephyr. This has got to be a 2024 model, I assume. Oh darn, I was close. 1899 Duria Trap. What's this thing? A 1906 Rapid Bus. Splendid possibilities for making or saving money. How about that? crazy contraption. Quitting time. (1904) Packland Model L. (1918) Overland Model 90B. (1950) Plymouth Deluxe Suburban. (1984) Plymouth Voyager. (1939) Dodge Airflow tank truck. Not tailgate. (1981) Checker Marathon Taxicab.
Now we are in the Henry Ford Museum's presidential car collection, which is quite impressive. First up is Franklin Delano Roosevelt's Sunshine Special, a car built by Ford's Lincoln Division. A 1939 Lincoln Model K limousine, to be exact. A
Franklin
V12 powered convertible,
Special,
modified for
Lincoln.
President Roosevelt.
Used from 1939 to 1915, the first car expressly designed and built for a president. The White House sent 5 pages of special instructions with the order for this new presidential vehicle. The World War was looming, and added security was crucial. Even more security features were added in 1942 after Pearl Harbor was bombed and the United States entered World War II. Other features of this custom-made car made it easier to lift President Roosevelt in and out since his legs had become paralyzed from the fearsome and incurable disease of polio. Despite these hardships, President Roosevelt enjoyed riding in public, and the top of this Sunshine Special convertible was often down as he greeted crowds. There's Franklin Roosevelt there. This is Harry Truman. I do not need any signs to tell me any American presidents. I know all of them.
Next up is President Dwight D. Eisenhower's 1950 bubble top Lincoln.
Top here. It's only part way. This is Dwight D. Eisenhower's bubble top 1950 Lincoln, used from 1950 to 1967. That's a lot of years of use. A stylish convertible to see and be seen in. It was a new era, and the old fleet of presidential cars was looking decidedly out of date. President Truman first rode this flashy convertible after it was delivered to the White House, along with 9 closed limousines in 1950. President Eisenhower later had the car fitted out with a removable plexiglass top that allowed him to see and be seen even in bad weather. This bubble top soon became the name for the whole car. The bubble top.
Next up is a car that has tragically been seen in newsreels and documentaries many times. This is the car that John F. Kennedy was riding in the back seat next to his wife Jacqueline when he was tragically assassinated in Dallas, Texas, November 22nd, 1963.
Kennedy's 1961 Lincoln, used from 1961 and 1977, which is surprising me they would keep using it after that. This is the car Kennedy was assassinated in. The top down. You can see him there in it. So he was sitting in the back right seat. Back here. It's pretty crazy. Certainly is tragic.
And the final car in the presidential collection here is the car that Ronald Reagan was returning to when he was nearly assassinated March 30th, 1981.
This one is Ronald Reagan's 1972 Lincoln, used from 1972 to 1992. Protecting the President Gets Serious. This limousine, first used by President Nixon, provided refuge for President Reagan in 1981 after he was shot by would-be assassin John Hinckley. Like all presidential cars, after President Kennedy's assassination, it is a completely armored closed door with a permanent roof and bulletproof glass. But in a concession to the president's desire to be seen, a sunroof panel can be opened for two people to stand up with their upper bodies outside the car. Bad idea to me. This is the car they rushed Reagan into when he was shot in 1981.
President Reagan was shot after returning from a speaking engagement at the Washington Hilton on March 30th, 1981 in Washington, D.C. The Secret Service rushed him into this car and to the hospital where a doctor saved his life. He famously said just before being operated on, a joke, that could have been his last words if the doctors were not able to save him. The last thing he said to the doctor was, "Doctor, I hope you're a Republican." And the doctor replied, "Mr. President, today we're all Republicans."
That is a pretty impressive collection of presidential cars there. Choices before cars. Abbott Downing Concord Coach, 1891. The stagecoach connected Americans. 1891 stagecoach.
The car had been invented in 1891, but there was very few of them, and obviously the stagecoach long predates 1891.
It's pretty cool seeing an old West stagecoach up close here. Jones horse-drawn streetcar, about 1875. Detroit, huh? box buggy in 1910. So this is the time where cars and horse and buggy were sharing the road with each other.
Did you see that this point where you're riding in an airplane and you're going up and down and you see like a movie theater real there? That's kind of neat. It really is neat.
Yeah, they're eating inside and outside. They're eating this stuff.
1960 McDonald's sign, that's kind of cool.
Well, I think it's time for me to have lunch here at Lammy's Diner. Well, that was good. Now let's move on to see some more highlights of American history here at the Henry Ford Museum.
Mr. Matthews, table right over there. Please, move up into this table. Common sense. Easy forward, single idea in mind. Ideas, time has come. Do not listen. The cause of America is in great measure the cause of all mankind. We have our power in the world all over. First day of a new world.
Look at this. Folding camp bed, 1775 to 1780, used by George Washington.
Now that is really, really cool. The actual bed used by George Washington while he fought the British in the Revolutionary War. Amazing piece of history.
And over here.
And this here is Washington's actual camp chest. Wow.
James Madison, the father of the Constitution.
And look at this, a Supreme Court or Speaker's chair from 1790 to 1795.
buttons for Washington's inauguration in 1789.
What's in the way? The law's in my favor. See here, old man, you can come in, but you can't go out again. Once here, you're mine. Stop. Warranted, and I think they feel right. You had my property. I want my man here and found that. Friends will come home and see what's the matter.
Here is a plaster cast of the hand of Harriet Beecher Stowe from 1896. And this here might be the biggest highlight of the whole museum. In a previous video I've showed you Ford's Theater, where Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Well, here's the actual chair he was sitting in when John Wilkes Booth shot him in the back of the head April 14, 1865.
This is the actual chair in which President Lincoln was assassinated on April 14, 1865. It was originally located in the President's Special Box in Ford's Theater, Washington, D.C. Ironically, though President Lincoln was assassinated in this chair, it now represents the life of this extraordinary individual and his complete devotion to the pursuit of American founding principles. Lincoln's rocker from Ford's Theater.
Yes, this. Oh, that's terrifying. That's
It's, yeah. People used to put all kinds of oil and stuff in their hair.
They've put these curtains up to kind of give it a Ford Theater feel.
That is really an amazing piece of history. Just wow.
Well, he was kind of basically organized people. Just so happened that, I happened to be working with him for some other reason, and like his bodyguard basically came here with him because he figured somebody could get shot at.
So you were protecting that? There's some weird stuff here. I've known.
So I would tell him that. Oh, that's
It's hard to imagine that a few decades ago it was illegal for people to do things that we take for granted.
Now, of course, Abraham Lincoln was known as the great emancipator for freeing the slaves. This next piece, 90 years later, is one of the sparks that triggered the civil rights movement. On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks, a black woman, was riding this bus in Montgomery, Alabama, in the segregated Deep South, and she refused to give up her seat and sit in the back of the bus. Her arrest triggered a bus boycott that set the ball in motion for protests and marches that eventually led to the desegregation of the South and the passage of the civil rights laws. This is that exact bus that Rosa Parks refused to move seats in, and I'm going to take you on board it.
Second bell. Oh, okay.
From Montgomery, Alabama.
Rosa Parks had run in with the bus driver that she had to deal with that day. A couple of years before, he had taken his money and ran. So all the bus drivers were white, not known to be great people, and Mr. Flay just loved family.
No, you leave the family to the family. She's my girlfriend.
Okay.
He left me.
Okay.
But I actually went to visit her a year later. Why? So he was
Not a very big bus.
Thank you for letting me know that.
That's a whole exhibit with Hall ornaments. Yeah. So what? So far back in
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. That's your seat. I did a lot. Well, I don't know. Fletcher says it's the second one on this side.
Oh, okay.
definitely a lot shorter, smaller than I expected.
I just saw that. I was like, alright, well, off I go. Thank you.
Go ahead. You're good.
Well, that's my tour of the Henry Ford Museum. A pretty spectacular place to experience American history. Join me next time for more amazing sights, experiences, and adventures.